My friends, tonight I tell you a great secret, a truth hidden in plain sight, waiting only for the one who dares to believe. Faith, your faith, is the master key to all that you seek, the key that unlocks the treasures of heaven and brings them into form. Without faith, the door remains shut, but with it, all things are possible. Faith is not mere hope, not a passive wish for something to come. Faith is the certainty, the knowing, the unwavering conviction that what you have asked for is already yours. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the formless and the formed. The world you experience is not shaped by circumstance, but by the state of your belief. You do not beg for blessings, you claim them. And when you claim them with conviction, the world must yield to your command. To live in faith is to see beyond what the eyes perceive, to hear beyond what the ears detect, to feel the reality of your desire before it takes form. When you walk by faith, you do not wait for evidence, you become the evidence. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and in that assumption the universe bends to make it so. This is not theory, this is law. There is no greater power than faith in the unseen, for what is unseen is the very substance of creation. The moment you accept that what you seek is already yours, the moment you rest in the assurance of its presence, it begins to materialize. You do not need to force it, for faith is not struggle, faith is surrender. It is resting in the knowledge that God's abundance is already flowing to you. Doubt is the only thief. It is the shadow that creeps in to steal your blessings. But the one who holds fast to faith, who refuses to waver, who does not ask when or how, but instead gives thanks as if the gift is already in hand, this is the one who moves mountains. For the world outside is only a reflection of the world within. Align your inner world with the certainty of divine abundance, and the outer world will have no choice but to reflect it. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you believe. Believe, and the circumstances must change. Act as if you are already blessed, and you will see blessings overflow in ways you could never have imagined. Faith is the only currency in the kingdom of God, the only key that unlocks the limitless storehouse of divine supply. Now, dare to believe, and it shall be so. Faith is not a mere word, not a passive thought, not something to be entertained only in moments of comfort. It is a living force, an unshakable power that shapes your reality. The unseen foundation of the world is built upon it. Everything you now experience, everything that has ever been made manifest in your life, is the result of faith. Whether it was faith in the good or faith in the bad, faith in abundance or faith in lack. For faith does not discriminate. It simply brings forth into reality that which you truly believe. Look around you. Every condition, every circumstance, every possession or lack thereof is the direct outgrowth of the ideas you have accepted as true. The moment you understand this, you realize that the key to transformation is not found in struggle or external effort, but in the unseen realm of belief. If you wish to change anything in your life, you must first change what you accept as true within yourself. The world is only a mirror reflecting back to you the sum total of your assumptions. You may say, but I have prayed, I have asked, I have waited, and still my blessings have not come. And I tell you, you have waited because you have doubted. You have waited because though you have spoken words of faith, in your heart you have entertained fear. You have begged for what you already possess, and in that act of begging, you have confirmed its absence. But faith does not beg. It claims. Faith does not hope, it knows. Faith does not wonder, it assumes. There is no power outside of you that decides when and how you shall be blessed. You yourself are the vessel through which divine abundance flows. You are the channel, the doorway, the means by which the infinite takes shape. God does not withhold blessings. It is only the divided mind, the uncertain heart, that blocks their manifestation. When you align with the truth that all you desire is already yours, the floodgates open. When you cease to question, when you cease to wonder, when you instead live and breathe the reality of your wish fulfilled, Then and only then does it take form. Consider the farmer who plants a seed. He does not dig it up each day to check if it is growing. He does not despair, wondering if the harvest will come. He knows that the process is already underway, though it remains unseen beneath the soil. He waters the seed, he nurtures it, he trusts in the unseen workings of nature, and in due time the seed becomes the harvest. So too must you trust in the unseen workings of faith. Once you have planted the seed of belief, you must cease to question its growth. You must nurture it with expectation, with gratitude, with unwavering confidence that what you have claimed is already on its way. Some may say, but my circumstances tell me otherwise. My eyes see lack, my ears hear bad news, my hands grasp only emptiness. And I say to you, stop looking with the eyes of the flesh and begin to see with the eyes of the Spirit. What you now perceive is only the residue of past beliefs, the echo of old assumptions. Do not be deceived by appearances. They are but shadows cast by former thoughts. Instead, turn within. Turn to the only true reality, the unseen realm of imagination, the birthplace of all things. For what you assume to be true in the silence of your heart shall soon be made visible in the light of day. You do not need to struggle, you do not need to force, you do not need to push against the currents of life, hoping that something will change. You need only to assume, to believe, to accept as already done that which you desire. The moment you do this, the moment you embody the feeling of your wish fulfilled, reality begins to shift. People, events, circumstances, all will rearrange themselves to align with your inner world. This is not chance, this is not coincidence, this is law. There is no limit to what faith can achieve. There is no request too great, no dream too vast, no desire too bold. The only limitation is the one you place upon yourself. If you believe that abundance is reserved for others, then so it shall be. If you believe that blessings come only to the fortunate, then so it shall be. But if you dare to believe that all things are yours, that you are a rightful heir to divine abundance, then nothing shall be withheld from you. The greatest mistake is to wait for external signs before believing. The one who waits remains in waiting, for the law responds only to what is assumed as true now. You must act as though you already possess the thing you desire. You must feel the joy of it, the certainty of it, the gratitude of it. And in doing so, you shift from waiting to receiving. The universe does not delay. It only mirrors back to you the state of your belief. When you pray, do not pray as one who is begging at the feet of an unwilling giver. Pray as one who speaks to a loving Father, a Father who has already provided all things, a Father who withholds nothing from his children. Speak with gratitude, not with longing. Speak with confidence, not with doubt. Speak as one who knows that the answer is already given, and it shall be so. You have been given the power to create. You have been given dominion over your world. You have been given the ability to shape your reality through faith alone. If you wish to see transformation, do not seek it outside of yourself, seek it within. The kingdom of heaven is within you, and from that kingdom flows every blessing you could ever desire. Every great achievement, every great miracle, every great movement of divine abundance has begun in the unseen, in the quiet realm of faith. Before the walls of Jericho fell, faith was spoken. Before the Red Sea parted, faith was declared. Before sight was restored to the blind, faith was received. This is the pattern, the eternal law. Faith first, manifestation second. Do not be discouraged by delays, for in truth there are no delays, only the unfolding of divine timing. What you have claimed is already yours. It is only the conditioning of your own mind that determines when and how you shall receive it. The moment you remove doubt, the moment you cast aside fear, the moment you stand unwavering in the certainty of your desire's fulfillment, the world must conform. You are not separate from God. You are not separate from the abundance you seek. The blessings you desire are not far off in some distant future. They are here now, waiting only for your acceptance. The power has been in your hands all along, and faith is the key that unlocks it. There is nothing more to seek. There is only the decision to believe, the willingness to accept, the courage to stand firm in the unseen truth. The world may call it foolishness, but those who understand know that faith is the only reality, and all else is but a reflection of its power. Now, go forth and believe, not with hesitation, not with half-hearted expectation, but with the full certainty that what you desire is already yours. Let the world around you shift, let the circumstances bend, let the blessings pour forth. For the moment you assume, the moment you accept, the moment you dare to live as though the promise is already fulfilled, the abundance of God will flood into your life beyond measure. Faith is not just a fleeting thought, not just a whispered prayer in the night. It is the very essence of creation, the substance of all things seen and unseen. It is the invisible hand shaping the visible world, the power that brings the formless into form. When you understand this, you will see that your faith is not a small thing, not an abstract concept, but the very key that unlocks the doors to all the blessings you have ever desired. There is no mystery to faith, for it is always at work. It is either working for you or against you, depending on what you accept as true. If you believe in lack, if you expect struggle, if you assume difficulty, then these shall be your portion. Not because they are meant for you, not because you are unworthy of better, but simply because you have placed your faith in them. And what you place your faith in must come to pass, for that is the law. The moment you shift your belief, the moment you take your faith away from limitation and place it in divine abundance, your world begins to change. Not slowly, not over the course of years, but instantly in the unseen realm, and soon after in the world of form. The delay is never in the promise. The delay is only in your willingness to believe without wavering. The more steadfast you are, the quicker the manifestation comes. Some say, "But I have been waiting for so long. I have believed, and still I have not received." And I say to you, have you truly believed? Or have you only hoped, only wished, only entertained faith for a moment before falling back into doubt? For faith is not a temporary thought. It is a state of being. It is a knowing so deep that even if all the evidence before you screams otherwise, you remain unshaken. It is the unwavering conviction that what you have asked for is already yours. You must not look at what is and let it define what will be. What is only the outpicturing of past faith, past thoughts, past assumptions. It has no power to determine what will come unless you continue to accept it as the truth. If you desire a new reality, you must look beyond appearances. You must see with the eyes of faith, hear with the ears of faith, walk in the certainty of faith. And as you do, the world will be forced to conform to your new belief. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot declare abundance and still dwell in lack. You cannot affirm health while still holding on to sickness. You cannot speak of love while believing in loneliness. The universe responds only to what you truly accept, not to what you merely say with your lips. Your outer world is the mirror of your inner world, and the moment you change within, the world outside must follow. Do not be swayed by what others say. Do not be moved by the opinions of those who have not yet understood the power of faith. They may call it foolishness, they may call it impossible, but their words hold no power unless you accept them. What they believe does not matter. Only what you believe shapes your world. If you believe in divine abundance, if you believe that God's blessings are already yours, then no force on earth can keep them from you. The great secret is this: the moment you feel the reality of your desire, the moment you rest in the assurance that it is done, you have already received it. The world may take time to catch up, but the work is finished in the unseen. Your only task is to hold firm, to remain steadfast, to refuse to entertain even the smallest doubt, for doubt is the only thing that can delay what is already yours. Faith is not something to be practiced once and forgotten. It is a way of life. It is the foundation upon which everything else stands. Each day you must renew your faith. Each moment you must align yourself with the truth that God's abundance is already flowing to you. When you do this, you become a magnet for blessings, a vessel through which divine favor overflows. Do not say, I will believe when I see it. Say instead, I see it now in my spirit, and so it must be. For the world does not give you what you ask for. It gives you what you expect. And expectation is nothing more than faith in action. The one who expects good receives good. The one who expects difficulty finds difficulty. Expect only the best, and the best will become your reality. You may wonder, how do I cultivate this kind of faith? How do I reach the place where I believe so deeply that nothing can shake me? And I tell you, it is not something that comes from effort. It is not something that requires struggle. It is something that simply is. You do not try to believe, you decide to believe. You do not wrestle with doubt, you dismiss it. You do not wait for proof, you become the proof. Feel now the reality of your desire. Let it fill you. Let it overflow within you. Do not look to the world for confirmation. Let the confirmation come from within. Speak as though it is already done. Walk as though it is already yours. Give thanks as though you have already received. And as surely as the sun rises, your world will shift to match your conviction. There is no power in the universe that can oppose the one who believes. There is no force strong enough to deny the one who stands unwavering in faith. For the law is absolute, and what you claim in the unseen must be made visible. The only question is, will you claim your blessings? Will you stand firm in the knowledge that they are already yours? Or will you allow fear and doubt to rob you of what has been prepared for you? Do not delay any longer. Do not wait for signs, for the sign comes after the belief, not before. Accept now that you are already blessed. Accept now that abundance is already yours. Accept now that all you have desired is already moving toward you. Stand firm in this knowing, and watch as the doors swing open, the way becomes clear, and the blessings of God pour into your life without measure. For faith is the key, and the moment you use it, the kingdom of heaven is opened unto you. Faith is not a distant hope, not a wish upon the stars, not a fragile thing that must be protected from the winds of doubt. It is the unshakable foundation upon which all things are built, the eternal law by which the seen world is formed. It is the very substance of your blessings, the force that calls forth the invisible and clothes it in form. To the one who understands this truth, there is nothing impossible, for all things respond to faith. You must not think of faith as something that comes and goes, something that must be cultivated with great effort. Faith is always present. The question is not whether you have faith, but where you have placed it. Have you placed it in lack, in struggle, in delay? Have you placed it in the words of others who say it cannot be done? Or have you placed it in the unchanging truth that God's abundance is already flowing to you, that the blessings you seek are already yours? To believe in divine abundance is not to wish for it, not to hope for it, but to accept it as the only reality. The world may say otherwise, the circumstances may try to contradict you, but the one who walks in faith does not concern themselves with appearances. They know that what is seen today is only the result of yesterday's beliefs, and that what will be seen tomorrow is being shaped by the convictions held today. The world is not fixed, it is fluid, responding at every moment to the state of your faith. Some will say, I believe, but I still see lack, I still feel struggle, I still face difficulty. And I tell you, to truly believe is not to acknowledge the absence of your desire, but to live as though it is already fulfilled. If you say, I believe, I will receive, you are still placing the blessing in the future, still separating yourself from it. But if you say, I have already received, and you feel the truth of those words within you, then you have made the claim that compels reality to respond. It is not enough to wish for abundance. It is not enough to hope for change. You must embody the state of already having. When you pray, do not pray as one who pleads with a distant God, but as one who thanks a loving Father for what is already given. Speak not as one who hopes to be blessed, but as one who knows they are blessed beyond measure. Walk not as one who waits for their desires to be fulfilled, but as one who already lives in the fulfillment of them. Faith does not ask for permission. It does not seek approval. It does not waver between belief and doubt. Faith simply is. It declares what is true and then rests, knowing that the work is already done. The moment you accept this, the moment you live in the certainty that your blessings are already flowing to you, you will see that reality itself bends to accommodate your belief. Doubt is the only thief, the only barrier, the only delay. It whispers, but what if it does not come? It asks, what if I am wrong? And in giving it attention, you give it power. The one who doubts today will doubt tomorrow, and in that doubt they create delay after delay, waiting for a sign, waiting for proof, when all along the proof was within them. You must silence the voice of doubt with the voice of knowing. You must say it is done, and refuse to entertain even the slightest hesitation. Do not measure your faith by what your eyes see. Do not measure your progress by the movement of external circumstances. Measure it by the certainty in your heart, by the peace that comes from knowing that what you have claimed in faith cannot be denied. The world may shake, circumstances may shift, people may say it is impossible, but none of that matters. What you have accepted as true in faith is already on its way to you. The only question is, will you stand firm in that knowing, or will you allow appearances to sway you? Some will say, but I have believed before, and still I have not seen the blessings I desired. And I tell you, belief is not a momentary thing. It is not a fleeting thought. It is not something you hold for a time and then let go. It must become your state of being, the very air you breathe, the foundation upon which you stand. If you have not received, it is not because faith has failed, but because you have allowed doubt to creep in, because you have looked too long at what is instead of standing firm in what must be. You must see yourself as already blessed. You must walk each day as if your desires have already been fulfilled. You must speak, not as one who is waiting, but as one who has already received. And when the world asks, where is your proof? You must smile, for you know that the proof will come only after the belief is established, never before. The seed does not prove itself the moment it is planted. The farmer does not wait for signs before trusting in the harvest. He knows that the growth is already happening beneath the soil, unseen but inevitable. So too must you trust in the unseen workings of faith. Your task is not to struggle, not to force, not to beg for what is already yours. Your task is to believe so completely, so unwaveringly, that the world has no choice but to conform. If you can do this, if you can walk in faith each day without questioning, without doubting, without looking to the world for confirmation, then you will see miracles unfold before you. You will see doors open where there were none. You will see provision appear when it was least expected. You will see the world shift to match the state of your belief. And when the blessings come, do not say, it was chance, it was luck, it was coincidence. Know that it was always yours, always waiting for you to claim it. Know that faith was the key that unlocked the door, and when the next challenge arises, do not return to doubt, do not return to hesitation, stand even firmer in the truth. For now you have seen with your own eyes what faith can do. You are not meant to live in struggle. You are not meant to live in lack. You are not meant to live as one who hopes for blessings but never receives them. You are meant to walk in divine abundance, to live as one who is constantly receiving, constantly overflowing, constantly expanding into greater and greater expressions of God's limitless love. The moment you accept this, the moment you refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts it, the moment you decide that faith is the only reality you will acknowledge, your life will be transformed beyond measure. Do not wait any longer. Do not hesitate. Do not look to the world for proof before believing. Believe now, claim now, give thanks now, and as surely as the dawn follows the night, your blessings will flow to you in ways beyond anything you could have imagined. Faith is the key, and the door is already open. Walk through it and receive what has been waiting for you all along. Faith is not the hope that something might come to pass. It is the absolute conviction that it already has. It does not wait for the world to change before believing. It believes, and the world changes as a result. There is no waiting in faith, no hesitation, no wondering when or how. Faith does not seek confirmation from the senses, it is its own confirmation. To walk in faith is to stand in the full assurance that all you have asked for is already yours, that the blessings of God are already flowing to you even before you see a single sign. You must not measure the power of faith by what is visible. The seen world is but a reflection of past beliefs, a delayed shadow of what has already been established in the unseen. Do not mistake the present condition for truth. It is only the remnant of old assumptions. If you wish to see something new, you must first believe in the unseen reality of it. You must hold fast to the inner conviction that your desire is already fulfilled, and in doing so you call it forth into existence. You do not need to fight, to struggle, to prove yourself worthy. The blessings of God are not earned, nor are they given sparingly. They are already yours by divine right. There is no need to plead, no need to beg, no need to convince anyone, for the abundance of God is already flowing toward you in unlimited measure. The only requirement is that you believe, that you accept, that you stand firm in the certainty that you are already blessed. Doubt is the only hindrance, the only obstacle, the only barrier between you and your blessings. Doubt is the voice that whispers, but what if it does not happen? And in entertaining that voice you create resistance. Faith allows, faith trusts, faith rests in the assurance that what has been declared in the Spirit must come to pass in the physical world. The moment you remove doubt, the moment you refuse to give it any place in your mind, the blessings that have been waiting for you are free to flow. Some will say, but I have believed before and still I have not received. And I tell you, true belief is not temporary, not something held for a moment and then abandoned. It is a state of being, an unshakable knowing. If you find yourself wavering, questioning, wondering if what you desire will ever come, then your faith is not yet complete. You must move beyond hope, beyond wishing, beyond temporary belief, into the unshakable conviction that what you have claimed is already yours. Look at the great miracles, the great manifestations, the great works of faith that have been recorded throughout time. Not one of them was the result of hesitation. Not one of them came from a mind that wavered between belief and doubt. They were all brought forth by those who stood firm, who refused to accept any reality other than the one they had claimed in faith. The same law applies to you. The same power is within you. The same ability to call forth blessings from the unseen into the seen is already yours. The only question is, will you believe without wavering? Do not wait for conditions to change before you believe. Believe, and the conditions must change. Do not wait for a sign before you claim your blessings. Claim them now, and the signs will follow. The law is absolute. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. There is no exception, no special circumstance, no situation too difficult. The moment you fully accept that your desires are already fulfilled, the moment you cease questioning and stand in the certainty of it, the entire universe moves to bring it to pass. Faith is not a matter of effort. It is not a forceful attempt to will something into being. It is not a battle against circumstances. Faith is rest. Faith is ease. Faith is the quiet knowing that what you have asked for is already done. It is the ability to live each day in peace, without anxiety, without doubt, without the need for external validation. It is the assurance that your blessings are already on their way, even if you see no evidence of them yet. You must not allow the world to dictate what is possible for you. You must not accept the limitations that others impose. You must not look at circumstances and allow them to define what you can or cannot have. Faith is the rejection of limitation, the refusal to accept anything less than the fullness of God's abundance. The moment you decide that you are already blessed, that you already possess all that you desire, that there is no power that can keep your blessings from you, that is the moment you step into the fullness of faith. You do not need to understand how it will happen. The how is not your concern. Your only task is to believe, to accept, to stand firm in the knowing that it is already done. The path will reveal itself. The way will be made clear. The necessary steps will unfold before you, but none of that will happen until you first accept that it is already yours. This is the great secret, the hidden key to unlocking the abundance of God. The moment you claim it, it is already done. There is no limitation except the one you accept. There is no delay except the one you create. There is no obstacle except the doubt that you allow to remain in your mind. The moment you remove all hesitation, all fear, all questioning, the moment you decide that faith is the only reality, your world must shift to reflect that truth. The universe has no choice but to conform to the state of your belief. Live now as though your blessings have already been received. Speak now as though you are already walking in divine abundance. Give thanks now as though every desire has already been fulfilled. And in doing so, you will see that faith is not something that merely hopes for a future blessing. It is the present reality that brings all things into being. Faith does not ask when, it declares now. Faith does not wonder if, it proclaims it is done. The world may try to tell you otherwise. Circumstances may attempt to shake you. The voices of doubt may whisper in your ear. But none of these things have any power unless you give it to them. Stand firm in your conviction. Do not waver. Do not allow the illusion of delay to convince you that your blessings are not already on their way. Know with absolute certainty that all you have asked for is already yours, that God's abundance is already flowing to you, that nothing can stand in the way of the fulfillment of your desires. This is the truth that transforms lives. This is the law that governs all things. This is the secret that has been known by those who have walked in divine favor throughout history. Faith is not a distant dream, not an empty hope, not a mere possibility. It is the unbreakable law of creation, the very power by which all things come into being. The moment you accept this, the moment you refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts it, the moment you stand unwavering in the knowing that you are already blessed, that is the moment your world will change. Do not hesitate, do not delay, do not wait for permission from the world to believe in what is already yours. Step now into the fullness of faith. Accept now the blessings that have been waiting for you. Declare now that all you have asked for is already fulfilled. And as surely as the sun rises, as surely as the seasons change, as surely as night follows day, your faith will bring forth abundance beyond anything you have ever imagined. Faith is the key, and the door is already opened. Walk through it now and receive all that has been waiting for you. You must see yourself as already possessing every good thing you desire. Do not wait for it to appear before you claim it. Do not ask whether it is possible. Do not wonder if you are worthy. All that exists is already yours by divine inheritance. The only question is, will you accept it? Will you take hold of it with unwavering faith? Or will you continue to allow doubt and fear to keep you from what has already been prepared for you? The one who walks in faith does not ask for signs. They know that signs will follow belief, not precede it. They do not wait for proof before they claim their blessings. They do not look at circumstances and determine their worth based on what they see. They know that the unseen is the true reality, and that the seen world must always conform to the convictions held in faith. You must move beyond the mind that seeks evidence. You must move beyond the eyes that look for confirmation. You must trust so completely in the unseen reality of your blessings that nothing in this world can shake you. It is not enough to say you believe. You must live in the full assurance that all you desire is already accomplished. When you speak, speak as one who already has. When you act, act as one who is already blessed. When you pray, pray as one who is giving thanks for what is already done, not as one who is pleading for what they hope to receive. The power of faith is not in the words you speak, but in the conviction behind them. It is not in the actions you take, but in the certainty with which you take them. It is not in the appearance of your current circumstances, but in your ability to look beyond them and see only the reality of what you have claimed. The world may say one thing, but if your faith says another, the world must change. This is the law. Do not be deceived by appearances. They are but a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. They are not fixed, they are not permanent, they are not immovable. They can shift in an instant, the moment you decide to believe in something greater. The one who understands this is never troubled by what they see, for they know that what they see today is only a reflection of yesterday's thoughts, and what they will see tomorrow depends entirely on what they believe today. So do not place your faith in what is, place your faith in what must be. Do not look at the lack and call it real, look at the abundance within you and call it forth. Do not acknowledge struggle and give it power, acknowledge only the ease, the flow, the divine favor that is already yours. If you refuse to accept anything less than the fullness of God's blessings, then that is all you will receive. The power of your faith is limitless. There is no situation too difficult, no circumstance too dire, no desire too great. The only limitation is the one you place upon yourself. If you believe that something is beyond your reach, then it will remain so. If you believe that you are unworthy, then you will not receive. But the moment you cast aside these false limitations, the moment you decide that you are worthy, that you are already blessed, that there is nothing standing between you and your desires, then the floodgates of divine abundance will open. Some may look at their lives and say, but my struggles are real, my hardships are real, my lack is real. And I tell you, they are real only because you have given them power. They exist because you have accepted them as truth. The moment you decide to believe in something greater, they must fade away. The moment you refuse to entertain them as reality, they must dissolve. Your faith is the only determining factor. It is not the world that dictates your blessings, it is you. Do not say, I will believe when I see it. Say instead, I see it now, and so it must be. Feel it now, claim it now, live in the joy of it now. If you can do this, if you can hold this conviction without wavering, then nothing can stand between you and the manifestation of your desires. The world itself will shift to accommodate your belief. Faith is not about waiting for the right moment. It is not about hoping that one day things will change. It is about knowing that they have already changed, that the moment you claimed your blessing, it was already done. Time is only a veil, an illusion that separates you from the immediate reality of your desires. The stronger your faith, the thinner this veil becomes, until finally what was once unseen is made visible before your very eyes. You do not need to struggle for what is already yours. You do not need to chase what is already on its way to you. You need only to align yourself with the reality of your blessings, to step into the version of yourself that already has them. Speak like one who is blessed, walk like one who is blessed, think like one who is blessed, and soon the world will have no choice but to reflect back to you the truth that you have already claimed. Do not entertain doubt for even a moment. Do not allow it a foothold in your mind. The instant you begin to question, you introduce resistance. The instant you wonder when or how, you create delay. But the one who knows, the one who believes without question, the one who stands firm in faith without needing proof, this is the one who sees miracles unfold effortlessly. The universe moves for the one who does not doubt. You have been given the power to create, the power to manifest, the power to shape your world according to your belief. This is not a gift given to a select few. It is a gift given to all who will use it. It is not reserved for the fortunate, the lucky, or the chosen. It is available to anyone who dares to believe. The moment you decide that this power is yours, the moment you refuse to accept anything less than divine abundance, the moment you stand in the knowing that all you desire is already yours, the world must respond. Do not seek permission to be blessed. Do not wait for others to agree with your vision. Do not ask for approval from a world that does not yet understand the power of faith. Claim what is yours now. Speak it into existence now. Live as though it is already done, and soon you will see the evidence of your belief all around you. You are not meant to live in lack. You are not meant to struggle. You are not meant to wonder when your blessings will arrive. They are already here. The only thing standing between you and them is the depth of your faith. If you believe completely, without hesitation, without fear, without doubt, then nothing can keep them from you. So step into the fullness of your faith now. Refuse to accept anything less than what is rightfully yours. Declare your blessings, speak them into being, live in the joy of already having received, and as surely as night turns to day, as surely as the seasons change, as surely as the law of faith is unbreakable, your world will shift to reflect your conviction. You are already blessed, you are already abundant, you are already standing in the favor of God. There is nothing more to wait for, nothing more to seek, only to believe, to accept, to live in the fullness of faith. And as you do, the abundance of God will pour into your life beyond measure, in ways greater than you have ever imagined. Faith is the key, and the door is already opened. Step through it now and receive what has been waiting for you all along. There is no separation between you and the blessings you seek. There is no distance, no obstacle, no delay except the one you create in your own mind. The moment you recognize that you are not waiting for abundance, but that abundance is waiting for you to claim it, everything changes. The moment you stop seeing yourself as someone who must strive, who must struggle, who must prove their worthiness before receiving, you will step into the reality of your true power. You are already worthy. You are already chosen. You are already in possession of every good thing you could ever desire. It is only a matter of aligning your mind with that truth, of walking in the certainty that what you have declared in faith is already yours. Faith is not a process of convincing yourself. It is not a game of repeating words without conviction, hoping that if you say something enough times, it will one day become true. Faith is not a magic formula. It is the very law of creation itself. The world does not respond to empty words. It responds to the inner conviction with which those words are spoken. It is not enough to affirm abundance while secretly believing in lack. It is not enough to declare success while fearing failure. You must believe with every fiber of your being that what you desire is already done, that it is already present, that it already belongs to you. Do not look to the world for evidence before you believe. The world is only a mirror, a reflection of your inner world. If you wait for proof before believing, you will wait forever, for the proof only appears after faith has been fully accepted. The moment you declare it is already mine and live as though it is, the world must rearrange itself to reflect that truth. It has no choice. The law is unbreakable. The only delay is the hesitation within you, the moments when you question, the moments when you allow old beliefs to creep back in. But the instant you remove doubt completely, the instant you refuse to entertain anything except the reality of your blessing, it will manifest before you. Some will ask, but what if I fail? What if I believe and nothing happens? And I say to you, there is no failure except in the refusal to believe. There is no risk in faith, no loss in standing firm in your conviction. The only true failure is in doubting your own power, in turning away from the truth that you are the creator of your experience. Every great movement of divine abundance has been accomplished by those who refused to entertain the idea of failure, those who saw only the reality of what they desired and would not accept anything less. The same is true for you. The same law applies to you. You are not an exception, for faith excludes no one. It is the gift given to all who will use it. When you ask not as one who is begging, but as one who is claiming what already belongs to them. When you declare not as one who is uncertain, but as one who is simply stating a fact. When you walk not as one who is waiting, but as one who is already in possession of their desires. The world does not question those who move with certainty, those who expect blessings, those who carry themselves as though they are already standing in divine favor. It only responds to them, it must obey them, for they have aligned themselves with the higher law of faith. You do not need to convince anyone else. You do not need approval from the world. You do not need anyone to agree with you. You only need to agree with yourself. If you believe, then that is enough. If you know beyond all doubt that what you desire is already yours, then nothing else matters. No one else's opinion has any power over you unless you allow it to. No external circumstance can stand in your way unless you give it permission. The only authority in your world is your own faith. And when you stand in that faith, unwavering and absolute, the world will have no choice but to conform. Some will try to tell you that things take time, that you must be patient, that you must work hard, that you must earn your blessings. But I tell you, time is an illusion. Hard work is not the key. Effort alone does not create abundance. What does? The absolute certainty that it is already yours. The one who believes in delay will experience delay. The one who believes they must struggle will experience, but the one who believes that all things are already finished, that what they have claimed in faith is already present, will see it materialize before them with ease. Faith does not require effort, it requires surrender. Surrender not to the world, not to circumstances, not to limitations, but to the truth that what is unseen is more real than what is seen, that what is within you is greater than what is outside of you, that the moment you declare something as true and refuse to waver, the universe itself will move to make it so. There is no force strong enough to resist true faith, no obstacle that can stand in its way, no delay that can hold back what has already been declared in certainty. So do not wait, do not hesitate, do not ask when or how, simply declare it is done and let that be enough. Live as though it is already true. Let every thought, every action, every word reflect the reality of your blessing. And as surely as the stars shine in the night sky, as surely as the tides follow the moon, as surely as the seasons change, your faith will bring forth what has already been waiting for you. Do not entertain fear. Do not entertain doubt. Do not look at circumstances and allow them to dictate what is possible. The moment you do, you begin to undo what your faith has already set in motion. Stand firm, stand unwavering, stand in the absolute certainty that all things are already given to you. And in doing so, you will see miracles unfold. You will see doors open. You will see abundance pour into your life in ways that defy all logic, all reason, all expectation. You are not separate from God. You are not separate from divine abundance. You are not separate from the blessings you seek. They are already yours. You are already chosen. You are already standing in favor. The only thing left is for you to believe it so completely that the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. This is not theory, this is law, this is truth. And those who understand it, those who apply it, those who refuse to waver in their conviction will see their lives transformed beyond measure. It has already been given. The only thing left is for you to receive. Receive it now, accept it now. Walk in the fullness of your blessings now, and as you do, the kingdom of heaven will be made manifest in your life, overflowing, abundant, without measure. Faith is the key. The door is open. Walk through it now, and take hold of what has been waiting for you all along. And so I tell you now, there is nothing more to wait for. There is no more permission to seek, no more proof to require, no more hesitation to entertain. The blessings you desire, the abundance you seek, the divine favor that has always been yours is already here. It has been waiting for you to step into the fullness of faith, to claim it as your own, to accept it without question, without doubt, without resistance. You are not a beggar before God. You are not one who must struggle to be worthy. You are an heir to infinite abundance, a vessel through which divine power flows, a creator of your reality through the simple act of belief. The only task before you is to decide, will you continue to live as though you are separate from your blessings, or will you embrace the truth that they are already yours? If you believe fully, without fear, without hesitation, without allowing the world to sway you, then nothing can stand in your way. The universe must yield to the one who walks in faith. The doors must open, the way must be made clear, the blessings must pour forth. This is the law. This is the truth. This is the key that unlocks all things. So go now, not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. not as one who waits, but as one who has already received. Walk in faith, speak in faith, live in faith, and as surely as the stars shine above, as surely as the sun rises each day, as surely as the divine presence within you is limitless and unfailing, your world will transform. For faith is the key, and the door is already open. Step through it now and receive what has been waiting for you all along. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I invite you to consider something so simple yet so powerful that it shapes every corner of your world. I invite you to look within, not to the noise outside, not to circumstance or condition, but to the sacred theater of your imagination. For within that silent chamber lies the birthplace of every reality you have ever known. You may think the world happens to you, but I tell you, it happens through you. Every joy, every sorrow, every triumph, every defeat. It is not the hand of fate, but the hand of imagination, guided either blindly or with intention. The moment you accept this truth is the moment you hold the key to everything. What you imagine with God becomes real, not someday, not somewhere distant in time, but now in seed form. The outer world is only the harvest of thoughts, deeply felt, persistently held. Your imagination is divine. It is not a daydream, not mere fantasy. It is the very workshop of creation. And the power behind it, that still, small voice within, that which many call God. To imagine lovingly, to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, is to align yourself with divine law. When you feel as though your desire is already yours, when you walk, talk, and breathe as though it is done, you impress it upon the deeper mind, and what is impressed must be expressed. That is the law. You have imagined your way to this very moment. Every relationship, every opportunity, every challenge, you summoned them by what you believed and felt to be true, perhaps unknowingly, but the law does not require awareness to function, only feeling. If you feared it, you fed it. If you longed for it with certainty, you called it near. So I say to you, use your imagination as you would a sacred tool. Do not squander it on fear or doubt or revenge. Dare to believe in the beautiful, the noble, the good. Dwell in it until it feels natural, until it feels like home, and then release it not in desperation but in faith. For what you have conceived in feeling is already born in spirit. The world is clay, and your inner vision shapes it. But it is not just vision, it is vision fused with belief, soaked in emotion, wrapped in repetition. That is how mountains move. That is how doors open without keys. That is how the invisible becomes seen. So tonight ask yourself not merely what you want, but what you are willing to become in mind and spirit, because your world will always reflect the image you hold within. Choose wisely, imagine wisely, because what you imagine with God becomes real. What you imagine with God becomes real. This is not poetry, it is principle. It is the rhythm of life itself, quietly and faithfully playing in the background of every waking moment, waiting only for your conscious participation. You are not a passive observer in this world. You are not at the mercy of luck or fate or circumstance. You are the operant power. You are the chooser, and the choosing happens within. Each time you dare to imagine something greater, something finer, something more in line with the divine pattern of love and abundance, you are not merely hoping, you are creating. Feel the difference. Hope begs, imagination assumes. Hope waits, imagination lives in the end. Hope says, maybe one day. Imagination says, it is so now. And the world, like a faithful mirror, reflects the latter. You are not separate from the source of creation. It breathes in you, moves through you, expresses as you. When you sit quietly and close your eyes, when you dwell in the scene of your heart's desire fulfilled, you are not pretending. You are entering the realm from which all reality springs. The invisible realm, the eternal, the real. And the moment you feel it to be true, The moment you live in that imaginal act with conviction, you set in motion a law more powerful than anything the world can oppose. The outer world rearranges itself to match the inner state. This is not something you try to make happen with force. It is something you allow by remaining faithful to the assumption that it already is. Everything you now experience, you once imagined. Whether consciously or unconsciously, you lived in the feeling of it long enough for it to take root. And now you walk among the fruits of yesterday's inner garden. This is not to shame you, it is to empower you, because if you created what is, you can create what will be. It is never too late to change the script. And the script does not change by pleading or hustling or fighting against what you see. It changes by assuming the end and making that end so vivid, so real, so emotionally charged in your imagination that the world cannot help but catch up. You see, life is not reacting to your wishes, it is reflecting your assumptions. And assumptions, once embodied, harden into fact. So what are you assuming right now about yourself, about others, about what's possible? Are you living as though the future you want is already here, or are you waiting for proof before you believe? Because belief is the proof. Feeling is the secret. When you walk in the state of already being what you desire, when you move through your day with the confidence of someone who already has the thing they used to long for, you call it into being. It must come, not because of who you are in the world, but because of who you are in consciousness. The world bows to your inner conviction. This is not magic, it is law. And law does not play favorites. It doesn't care how long you've struggled or how many mistakes you've made. It only responds to your present inner state. So if you would change your life, don't wait for the world to change first. Go within. Change the feeling. Change the inner conversation. Change the movie playing in your mind. And stay there. Not for a minute, not for a moment of inspiration, but as a way of life. Live from the end, not toward it, from it. This is the greatest secret of manifestation. When you imagine with God, you are imagining from the source of all things. There is no lack there, no doubt, no delay, only the perfect fulfillment of your desire as if it were always true, as if it had never not been true. And when you feel that way long enough, consistently enough, lovingly enough, the world bends itself to make it visible. You don't need to tell others. You don't need to convince or explain. What you do in the silence of your soul is more powerful than anything you could say aloud. Withdraw from appearances. Ignore the evidence of the senses if it contradicts your aim. Let your faith in the unseen be greater than your fear of the seen, because what you sustain in imagination will become the seen. The world may say, be realistic, but I say to you, be imaginative, because what the world calls realistic is just what has already been made visible by imagination. It is old news. It is the echo of a former assumption. You are not here to live in echoes. You are here to sing the new song, to see what others do not yet see, to feel what the world has not yet caught up to know in your bones, in your breath, that what you imagine with God becomes fact. Take a moment. Think of a desire close to your heart. Not one you think is reasonable, not one you believe you should want, but one that sets your soul on fire, one that whispers to you in quiet hours, one that makes you feel alive. Now ask yourself, if it were true right now, how would I feel? How would I carry myself? How would I speak, move, breathe? What thoughts would fill my mind? What assumptions would I naturally hold? Now dare to dwell there, not just in fantasy, but in faith. Faith is not blind. Faith sees what the eyes cannot. Faith is the evidence of things not seen, the substance of things hoped for. Faith is imagination married to conviction. When you persist in that inner feeling, when you make it so real to you that the outer world becomes irrelevant, it must materialize. You don't chase it. You don't beg for it. You become it. And in becoming it, you draw all things necessary into your world. People, places, opportunities. They come as if by accident, but you'll know better. You'll know they are simply the visible bridge between your inner state and its outer reflection. This is how the meek inherit the earth, not through striving, but through stillness, through the quiet mastery of inner reality, through the wise use of imagination aligned with love. Because when you imagine lovingly for yourself, for others, you become a vessel for divine will. And divine will is always fullness, always peace, always joy. Guard your imagination then as you would a sacred flame. Don't lend it to fear or gossip or complaint. Don't let it drift aimlessly into worry or regret. Keep it anchored in the truth of what you want. And when old patterns try to drag you back, remind yourself, I am not my past. I am not my current condition. I am not even what others see. I am what I assume myself to be. And I assume now that I am blessed, that I am guided, that I am whole, that I am loved and loving, that what I desire is mine because I have made it real in imagination. And what is real in imagination is just as real, if not more so, than what is presently visible. It only waits for the right season to bloom. This is why patience is not passive. Patience is trust. It is knowing that the seed already planted will grow as long as you do not dig it up with doubt. It is knowing that your assumption, once fixed and felt, will attract every condition needed for its fulfillment. You don't have to know how, you only have to know that it will. Rest in that knowing. Let it calm your nerves. Let it quiet your questions. The same divine power that imagined galaxies into being lives in you. It does not fail. It does not forget. It does not withhold. It gives according to your assumption. It reflects what you dare to feel is already true. So I ask you, one more time, what are you imagining? Not just casually, but consistently. What inner state are you nurturing, feeding, repeating? Because that is what you will live. Not what you want, not what you hope, but what you believe yourself to be in the secret places of your soul. If you would change your world, change your inner speech. Speak to yourself as the person who already has what they once sought. Walk into rooms with the posture of someone who knows their worth. Act not in pretense, but in inner alignment with the truth of your fulfilled desire. Let your imagination outgrow your memory. Let it stretch beyond the facts of your current world. Let it become the vision of what can be and already is in spirit. And the world, though it may seem slow to catch on, will rise to meet you there. It always does. It always does, because it must. The world has no choice but to echo what you have fixed in consciousness. It is not a matter of time, but a matter of assumption. When you persist in the assumption long enough, time bends to it. Circumstance bends to it. People, even the ones who seem most unrelated to your dream, will play the exact roles needed to bring your desire to pass. Not because they intend to, but because they must. They are moved like actors on a stage, responding to the lines you have already written in the script of imagination. The deeper part of you, what some call the higher self, the God within, the I am, knows this truth already. It waits patiently for you to remember. Every time you return to imagination, to the state of the wish fulfilled, you are coming back home. You are returning to the source of all manifestation, the source of all reality. You are no longer looking to the world to tell you who you are telling the world who you are, and the world obeys. So you must make it a habit, a discipline, a way of life. The disciplined use of imagination is not restrictive, it is liberating. It frees you from reaction. It makes you the cause, not the effect. And when you live as the cause, nothing can shake you. Storms may come, but you know they are temporary. Delays may arise, but you know they are only illusions. Because you have seen the end, you have felt the end. And having assumed the end, it is yours. Do not mistake persistence in imagination for mere repetition. It is not about how many times you say the words or visualize the scene. It is about how deeply you feel the truth of it. One moment of deep, rich, vivid inner experience is more powerful than 1,000 hollow affirmations. To feel it real is to ignite the fire, and once lit, it must burn through every layer of resistance until the outer world reshapes itself to match your inner conviction. You see, the imagination is the creative power of God individualized in you. It is not a gift given to the fortunate, it is the essence of who you are. The world was imagined into being. All that is seen was once unseen. Everything man has made, from the smallest tool to the grandest monument, began in imagination. And yet we think nothing of wasting this power on worry, doubt, and limitation. We give it away to fear. We loan it to negative self-talk. And then we wonder why our lives mirror back to us chaos and lack. You were never meant to live by default. You were meant to live by design. And that design begins with what you accept as true in imagination. Whatever you would see expressed outwardly, you must first claim inwardly. Whatever you would hold in your hands, you must first hold in your mind. And not as a distant hope, but as a present fact. I am, not I will be. It is, not it could be. For all things are possible to the one who believes, not in mere possibilities, but in fulfilled facts. Let that be your compass, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the one thing you must return to again and again. In quiet moments, in the midst of chaos, when things seem to fall apart and when everything goes right, return to that inner state. Let it become your dwelling place. Let it become your atmosphere. Because what you frequently imagine becomes your reality. Not through force, not through effort, but through spiritual law, which never fails. Many believe that imagining a better life is wishful thinking, but wishful thinking is unfocused, passive, and lacks faith. The imagination I speak of is active, deliberate, and fused with feeling. It does not wait, it declares, it does not hope, it assumes. It lives in the state of already having, already being, already doing, and that state draws to it the conditions that match it. No prayer goes unanswered. No sincere act of imagination is ever wasted. Every time you imagine lovingly, every time you feel a truth that contradicts the senses, you sow a seed. You may not see it grow immediately, but do not be fooled. Something has shifted. The world may look the same for a while, but behind the curtain, everything is changing. The stage is being set. The characters are being moved. The doors are being prepared to open. So persist. When the evidence says otherwise, persist. When doubt knocks, persist. Not with strain, but with confidence. Remind yourself that what you imagine with God becomes real, not by effort, but by law. If it is truly assumed, it must come to pass. If it is truly felt, it must find expression. Now understand this clearly. Imagination must be fused with belief to create. Mere mental images are not enough. It is belief that gives imagination its power. It is the feeling of certainty, the emotional conviction that impresses upon the deeper self. That is why imagining without feeling leads to frustration. You must feel the truth of it. You must dwell in it long enough for it to become familiar, natural, inevitable. Do not worry about how it will come. That is not your work. Your work is to assume the end and live in its feeling. Let the divine intelligence within take care of the means. It knows ways and connections far beyond your current understanding. When you interfere with the how, you often limit the miracle. So release the need to figure it out. Just feel it real and remain faithful. Some may ask, but what if I fail? What if I imagine and nothing changes? To that I say, you can never truly fail if you persist. Failure only comes when you stop imagining. When you give up the vision, when you abandon the assumption. The moment you pick it up again with renewed faith, the process continues. Your only task is to return to the state of the wish fulfilled. Over and over. Lovingly, confidently, joyfully. Even in the midst of the opposite, you can hold to the vision. That is true mastery. Anyone can believe when the evidence is there. But to believe in spite of what you see, that is divine power. That is creation. That is the mark of someone who knows their union with the source. Every great change in your life will begin first in imagination. There is no exception. Whether it is healing, abundance, love, purpose, peace, it begins as an inner experience. So make your inner world rich. Fill it with beauty, with faith, with confidence in the good. Make your inner conversations kind and bold. Speak to yourself as you would if you already had all you desired. Think thoughts of success, of peace, of fulfillment, not because you're trying to trick the world, but because you're shaping it. If you only knew how powerful you truly are, you would never again imagine anything you do not wish to experience. You would never again speak carelessly about yourself or your circumstances. You would never again accept limitation as truth. You would guard your inner world with holy reverence, because you would understand the imagination is not just creative, it is divine, and its partner is God. What you imagine with God becomes real. Not maybe, not someday, it becomes real. The moment you feel it real, it becomes part of you. And what is part of you must find expression. So feel it now, love it now, be it now, and let the world catch up. Your life is clay, and your imagination is the sculptor. There are no limits but those you accept. There are no delays but those you entertain. Every moment is a new chance to claim a new reality. Every second a doorway into a new world. Enter it boldly, enter it lovingly, and live from it, not toward it. Because when you do, when you really do, the world will change, and you will know, not by theory but by experience, that what you imagined with God has become real. The most sacred thing you possess is your ability to imagine, for it is there that God speaks in first person. It is not outside you, not in some distant place above the sky, but right where you are, thinking as you, dreaming as you, believing as you. When you say, I am, you are invoking the name of God. Whatever you place after those two words, you call into being. If you say, I am poor, you are not describing a condition, you are declaring a truth. If you say, I am loved, you are not merely expressing a wish, you are shaping a reality. So watch yourself. Listen closely to your inner conversations. They matter more than any outer action. They matter more than what anyone else says about you, more than your job title, your bank balance, your relationships. What you whisper to yourself when no one is watching, that is the seed of your world. The quietest assumption held with feeling will eventually outpicture itself, even if the world around you insists otherwise. Do you want to know where your future is heading? Don't look to a psychic. Look to what you consistently feel to be true in your imagination. What scenes do you replay before sleep? What do you assume when you're walking through your day? Do you live in expectation or dread, in confidence or doubt? You cannot plant the seed of fear and reap the fruit of joy. You cannot water a garden of limitation and expect abundance. You must begin where it all begins, with feeling, with belief, with imagination. And the most powerful use of imagination is not to escape reality, but to create it. When you imagine, not for fantasy's sake, but with intention, when you fuse your desire with feeling, faith, and repetition, you are entering the realm of miracles, not by chance, but by law. And this law will never fail you, not once, if you remain faithful to the inner state. You must claim it boldly, not timidly, not halfway, boldly. You must say, this is who I am, this is what I have, this is what is mine, even if the world tells you the opposite, especially if the world tells you the opposite. That is the moment you choose. Will I believe the seen or the unseen? Will I side with fear or with faith? Will I remain loyal to my senses or to the deeper knowing within me? What you imagine with God becomes real, because God operates in you through your assumption, not through the begging of your lips, but through the certainty of your soul. When you feel yourself into a new state, a new identity, and you refuse to leave it, the world must conform. It may take days, weeks, or months, but it must come, not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. You are always creating. This is not something that turns off and on. Whether in joy or worry, in hope or doubt, you are constantly imagining. The question is not if you are creating, but what you are creating. And you will know what you have created by the life you live today. But do not be discouraged. For just as you once imagined your way into limitation, you can now imagine your way into freedom. You can revise the past, heal the present, and shape the future, all from the center of your being. There is no power outside of you greater than the power within. You may feel small, but you are not. You may feel forgotten, but you are not. You may feel broken, but in truth you are whole. For you are made in the image of the Creator, not in form, but in function. The function to create. And that function is imagination. Let it become sacred to you. Protect it. Nourish it. Don't throw it away on worry and fear, on what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Use it for what it was given. To dream wisely, to envision boldly, to feel into a new life, until that new life becomes so familiar, so alive, so real within you, that the outer world must obey. You will begin to notice subtle changes first. You will feel lighter, more at ease. You will begin to carry yourself differently. You will stop reacting to the world and begin responding from a place of power. People will notice something in you, something calm, grounded, magnetic. They won't know what it is, but you will. You'll know that you've tapped into the source, that you've begun to create from the inside out. Do not let others distract you with their opinions or their doubts. Most people live as though imagination is childish, naive, even foolish. But that's only because they've forgotten what they once knew as children, that everything real was once unreal, that the invisible precedes the visible, that the dream comes before the doing. And if you are to reclaim your power, you must remember what they have forgotten. You must remember that you are not here to live life as it is, but as it could be, as it should be, according to the divine vision you hold in your soul. This is not denial, this is creation. This is not escapism, this is transformation. You are not ignoring facts, you are overriding them with truth. And truth is not what is seen, truth is what is felt, claimed, and lived within, until the scene is remade in its image. If you could only hold one belief in this life, let it be this, that imagination and God are one. That what you dare to believe with love and conviction becomes real, not always on your timeline, not always in the way you expect, but always in perfect alignment with your assumption. The world will surprise you, not because it is random, but because it is obedient. It listens not to your words, but to your feeling, not to your logic, but to your state. So check your state, do it often, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Ask yourself, what am I assuming right now? Am I assuming lack or abundance? Am I assuming love or loneliness? Am I assuming ease or struggle? Whatever you're assuming, you are aligning with. Whatever you're aligning with, you are creating. And the beautiful thing is this, your power lies in the present, not in what happened yesterday, not in what might come tomorrow, but in what you are feeling and believing now. This moment is the birthplace of all that will come. So bless it, use it, shape it, claim in this moment what you desire, and do not waver. Feel the end. See yourself already there, not as a distant hope, but as a present reality. Feel the relief, the joy, the confidence of already having it. Hear the words of congratulations. See the proof on paper, the smile on a loved one's face, the doors that were once shut swinging open. Breathe it in, let it move through your body, and then go about your day not as someone hoping, but as someone who knows. You'll find yourself walking taller. You'll notice that decisions come easier, that opportunities begin to appear without effort, that life begins to echo your inner world more quickly, and each time it does, you will trust even more. You will stop needing signs, because your conviction will become the sign. You will stop needing evidence, because your assumption will carry more weight than circumstance. And then the miracle will appear quietly, naturally, as though it had always been so. And you smile, not because you're surprised, but because you knew, because you felt it, because you lived it in imagination before it came to pass. That's the moment everything changes. Not when the outer world shifts, but when the inner world becomes unshakable. You were born to imagine wisely. You were born to live from vision, not reaction. You were born to remember that the unseen is more real than the seen, that the seed is the promise, that your imagination, united with divine intelligence, is the most creative force on earth. So choose this moment to begin anew, not by changing what's outside, but by changing what's within. Assume the best. Feel the truth of your desire already fulfilled. Live in the end again and again until it feels like home. And then watch, not with anxiety, but with quiet assurance, as the world transforms to meet you there. Because it will. It always will. Because it always will. You are not waiting for the world is waiting for you to assume the posture of the one who already is, already has, already knows. You do not need permission to imagine boldly. You do not need anyone's agreement or approval to claim what is yours in spirit. For the spirit within you is complete, whole, lacking nothing. And when you imagine from that place, the world bows in response. Everything is responding to you, though you may have thought otherwise. Perhaps you've believed that you had to beg, work harder, or suffer longer to deserve what you wanted. But the truth is, deserving has nothing to do with it. It is not about effort, but alignment. You receive not because you have earned, but because you have assumed. You get what you accept as true for yourself, not what you think you're worthy of in theory, but what you feel to be natural. And what feels natural now is the greatest clue to what you'll see next. This is why change doesn't come by chance, but by choice. By choosing again and again to inhabit a new feeling, a new assumption, until it becomes second nature. When you feel wealthy, you attract the forms that reflect it. When you feel loved, love appears. When you feel successful, success meets you. The outer must reflect the inner. It's not a maybe, it's a must. But you cannot trick the law. You cannot fake the feeling with empty affirmations while deep down clinging to fear. You must believe it. And belief is not found in your head. It is found in your heart, in your body, in your mood, in the quality of your thoughts and actions. If you believe you are the one who has it, you act like it, think like it, feel like it, even if no one else can see it yet. And soon they will. You may not know how it will come. It may come in ways that surprise you. That's not your concern. Your concern is the state, the invisible root, not the visible branch. You don't need to predict the steps. You just need to walk in the feeling of the end. The how belongs to the divine. It is your trust that opens the way. And let me remind you again, you are not imagining alone. You are not wishing from a place of emptiness. When you imagine, you are communing with the highest intelligence there is. The God power in you does not speak in words. It speaks in vision, in feeling, in knowing. And when you align with that frequency, when you surrender to that inner certainty, creation becomes effortless. It becomes natural. It becomes inevitable. Do not worry if you can't see the full picture yet. The seed does not need to see the tree to grow. It simply unfolds according to the pattern placed within it. And your desire, your true, burning, unshakable desire, is that pattern. It was placed within you for a reason, not to torment you, not to taunt you, but to call you into creation, to awaken your sleeping power, to remind you that you are here to shape life, not to be shaped by it. Most people sleep through life, reacting, surviving, doing what they're told. But you are being called to awaken. You are being called to imagine consciously, deliberately, wisely, not to wait for the world to show you who you are, but to show the world what is possible through a being who dares to feel it real. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed. It doesn't matter how long you've waited. The moment you assume the new state and persist in it, your past becomes irrelevant. The past is not a sentence, it is a shadow. And it cannot hold you when you step into the light of a new assumption. Stop telling the story of what went wrong. Start telling the story of what is right now in imagination. That is the only place transformation begins. You are not here to fix the world. You are here to fix your vision of it. And as you change your vision, the world changes with it. Relationships shift, finances shift, health shifts. It all begins within. When you begin to see others through the lens of love and wholeness, they begin to mirror that. When you refuse to give energy to lack, lack begins to fade. When you stop expecting disappointment, life stops disappointing you. Expectation is powerful. It is imagination in motion. What you expect, you attract. What you anticipate, you invite. So expect joy, expect breakthroughs, expect miracles, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. Expect them because you have already seen them in your mind, already felt them in your heart, already accepted them as done. That is not delusion, it is faith. Faith is not hoping that something might happen. Faith is knowing it already has. Faith is standing in the middle of a storm and saying, I am safe. Faith is looking at a bank account with zeros and saying, I am abundant. Faith is waking up to the same routine and saying something new and wonderful is happening now. Faith speaks from the end, and imagination is its voice. When you combine imagination and faith, you become unstoppable. Not because you control the world, but because you command the inner world. And the inner world is the cause of all things. This is the law. You cannot escape it, only use it. So why not use it with love? Why not imagine the best for yourself and for others? Why not dwell in the feeling of answered prayer? Every great life, every invention, every revolution, every transformation started in the unseen. Someone somewhere dared to imagine differently, dared to believe beyond what their eyes could see, and so they rose. Not because they were chosen, but because they chose to believe in a world not yet visible, chose to honor the vision more than the facts, chose to live as if it were true, and in doing so made it true. You are no different. You have the same power, the same faculty, the same divine inheritance. But it requires courage, it requires persistence, it requires being so loyal to the inner reality that no outer condition can break your faith. Even if you stumble, even if you doubt, return. Return to the feeling, return to the vision, return to the end. It is always there for you. It is waiting for your yes. And when you give it your yes, when you imagine, not as a beggar, but as a co-creator, you step into a rhythm that cannot fail. You begin to live not by effort, but by flow. Life begins to meet you with grace. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop forcing and start allowing. And the things that once seemed far away begin to come closer, not because the world changed, but because you did. You may not notice the shift at first. It may be subtle. A new idea, a sudden opportunity, a different way of seeing someone, a lightness in your step. But it builds and it grows until suddenly you look around and realize, this is the life I once imagined. And then you'll smile, not because you're surprised, but because you remember. You remember the nights you spent imagining in silence. You remember the mornings you felt it real before the day began. You remember the decision you made to no longer live by sight, but by vision. And that memory will become the foundation of your faith. The proof that what you imagine with God becomes real. Always. It is not superstition. It is not luck. It is not wishful thinking. It is law. And you are the living proof of it. So let this moment be your turning point. Let this breath be your new beginning. Do not wait for the world to give you permission. Do not wait for the evidence to believe. Believe now, imagine now, feel it now, live it now. And watch with quiet joy as the invisible becomes visible, the hoped for becomes fact, and your imagined reality becomes the only one you know. Because this is how reality bends, not to force, not to desperation, not to struggle, but to assumption fused with feeling held steadily within. Reality bends to the one who knows, not the one who hopes. It bends to the inner atmosphere that says, without question, it is already done. And this knowing does not come from evidence, it comes from conviction. and conviction is born in imagination, then nourished through repetition and finally embodied as your natural state. You do not have to prove anything to anyone. The only proof required is within, if you can feel it to be true, so deeply that it becomes your mood, your tone, your identity, the world will confirm it. That is not arrogance. That is alignment. You are not trying to create something outside of yourself. You are revealing by the light of your imagination what is already yours in the invisible. This is the truth most forget. They chase, hustle, and grind, thinking the outer world is where the treasure lies. But the treasure is within. It always was. When you imagine something and claim it with your full being, the outer world becomes a servant of that vision. People, opportunities, events, they rearrange themselves to fulfill what you have already accepted. And so you must be careful not to use this divine gift against yourself. Don't rehearse fears and call it being realistic. Don't dwell on what went wrong and call it processing. Don't return again and again to thoughts of lack, unworthiness, rejection, and think you are simply being cautious. You are planting seeds. You are writing upon the subconscious that this is who you are, and the subconscious will always bring it forth. This is why imagination is not child's play. It is divine play. The most serious work you will ever do is in silence, behind closed eyes, when no one is watching and no one applauds. That is where life is changed. That is where miracles are born, not in noise, not in public, but in stillness. When you dare to assume that your inner world is more real than the outer, and that feeling is more powerful than fact. You do not have to fight the old, you only need to imagine the new. You don't have to resist what is, you only need to surrender to what could be, and feel it now as what is. It is so simple and yet so profound. You do not overcome darkness by analyzing it. You overcome it by turning on the light. And the light is imagination, guided by love, anchored by faith, sustained by persistence. Some will tell you that your dreams are too big, that you need to be practical, that you should settle. Smile at them. Forgive them. They are simply reflecting the limits they have accepted for themselves. But you must walk a different path. You must live not according to what is, but according to what could be. You must be willing to look like a fool to the world in order to be faithful to the unseen. For what the world calls delusion, God calls faith. And what the world calls fantasy, the wise know to be creation in its earliest form. Do not let their unbelief shake your inner vision. Hold to it, protect it, water it with love and feeling. Speak of it not to everyone but to yourself constantly. Let it be your companion in solitude. Let it be your compass in uncertainty. Every great leap in your life will require this quiet defiance of appearances. You will have to say, even in the midst of contradiction, I know who I am. I know what is mine. I know what I have imagined. And when the outer world shouts no, you must whisper yes, and feel that yes in your bones. That is power. That is mastery. That is living from within. And from that place you will begin to see the strange and beautiful unfolding of reality. Synchronicities will appear. Things will work out coincidentally. What seemed delayed for years will manifest suddenly, not because you forced it, but because you finally believed it. And belief is the true magnet. Belief is the womb of manifestation. Understand that the law does not work with emotionless logic. It works with feeling. You can think 1,000 thoughts a day, but it is the one you feel that becomes flesh. It is not the words of your affirmations, but the emotional charge behind them that matters. If you say, I am wealthy and feel poor, the feeling wins. But if you say, I am abundant and feel rich, even for a moment, that moment is enough to plant the seed. So learn to live in the feeling. That is your real work, not to change the outer, but to change the inner atmosphere so fully that the outer must conform. It is not about effort. It is about inner consent. Do you agree with the version of yourself that already has the life you want? If not, you must begin to. You must speak as that version, feel as that version, act as that version. Quietly, humbly, consistently, even when no one notices, even when no one claps, especially then, because the world sees what is. But the awakened imagination sees what will be, and it holds to that vision with tenderness and strength until it becomes what is. It is not enough to imagine once, you must return again and again to the scene, to the feeling, to the state, until it becomes familiar, natural, automatic, until you no longer try to believe, because you simply do. That is the goal. To become so saturated in the assumption that you no longer have to remember it, it becomes who you are. And who you are will always determine what you experience. Let no one steal your vision. Let no voice, however loud, cause you to doubt what you have seen in the silence of your soul. You do not need evidence to begin. You only need imagination and faith. You do not need to know every step. You only need to know the end. Live from that end, speak from it, think from it, and let the steps reveal themselves one by one as you walk. This is the greatest power you possess. Not your skills, not your knowledge, but your inner state. That is what you take into every room, every opportunity, every encounter. And that is what life responds to. You may fool others with words, you may dress up lack in confidence, but life does not respond to what you say. It responds to what you are in consciousness. You cannot fake your state, but you can change it. And to change it, you do not need to travel or spend or earn or wait. You need only to sit, breathe, and feel, to close your eyes and enter the state of the fulfilled desire, to dwell there, to live there, to think from it until it is no longer a practice, but a natural way of being. That is where transformation begins, not in the world, but in you. And when it begins in you, it is inevitable that it will express itself. The law demands it. Your only task is to persist, not forcefully, but faithfully. Persist in the inner knowing, in the chosen mood, in the assumption that all is well and becoming better. And as you do, the world will begin to echo back your belief, your vision, your truth. You will walk into rooms and feel the shift. You will speak and your words will carry weight. You will live, not in reaction, but in creation. And all because you remembered what others forgot. That imagination, when united with divine feeling, becomes reality. Always. So I leave you with this. The power is within you. It always has been. You are not waiting for permission, not waiting for the world to catch up, not hoping for luck or chance. You are the dreamer, the imagineer, the silent creator of your world. What you dare to assume is true, what you feel deeply and live from consistently, must be made visible. It is law, not luck. And when you imagine with God, boldly, lovingly, faithfully, you do not just shape your own reality. You awaken others to the truth that they can shape theirs too. Use this gift wisely. Imagine well and live from the end, because what you imagine with God becomes real. You were not born to shrink into shadows. You were born to dominate the scene of your life, like the lead role in a grand play. Every atom of your being is charged with infinite power, the kind that bends the world to your will. You don't have to ask for permission. You don't need applause to know you're magnificent. The only thing required of you is to assume, to embody the truth that you already are the best. Feel it now, not tomorrow, not someday, now. Let the feeling of being unmatched, unequaled, unrivaled flood your senses. Let it take root in the secret place within you where all things are born. That is where the world is shaped, in the unseen, in the silence, in the imagination made real through faith and conviction. You don't wait to be crowned king. You walk as if the crown is already resting on your head. And by doing so, the world bows. Every moment is an opportunity to become what you already are. You are not hoping for greatness, You are greatness remembering itself. Look at the world around you. It's not separate from you. It moves to the rhythm of your inner state. You command, it responds. You expect, it delivers. You imagine, it forms. You must speak within yourself with authority. Say it like you mean it. I am the best. No one is better than me. Not from ego, not from arrogance, but from divine certainty. Because what you assume to be true, persistently and passionately, must come to pass. The law cannot be broken. Stop looking outside for validation. The mirror only reflects what you place before it. Change the image you hold of yourself, and the entire world rearranges to reflect your new belief. Don't ask if it's possible. Assume that it is. Live from the end. Walk as though the race is already won, because it is, because you've declared it so. The greatest secret is that you don't have to wait for anything to happen. You decide, and then you persist. The moment you claim the identity of the best, the universe conspires to make it true. It will bend, shift, and open doors no man can shut, not because you begged, but because you knew. So stand tall, speak your name like thunder, own every room you walk into, not by force, but by presence. You don't need to prove, only to be, because you are the best, and when you know it, the world knows it too. When you close your eyes and dare to feel yourself at the summit of success, you shift reality. You aren't waiting for confirmation, you're giving it. The moment you feel yourself as the best, the most powerful, the most magnetic force in any room, you become it. The world is only reflecting your conviction. It cannot help it. It is under your command, because you live as though what you desire is already yours. This is not about arrogance. This is not a competition. You're not better to diminish anyone else. You're simply not available for anything less than the highest expression of who you are. You are playing your role with full authority, full confidence, full presence, and in doing that, you call others higher too. You radiate so powerfully that you give others permission to shine. But never forget, you are the source, the center, the cause. Nothing outside you has power unless you give it permission. Doubt only exists when you invite it. Fear has no teeth unless you feed it. Your assumption is the throne from which your entire world is ruled. So if you sit in that throne and declare, I am the greatest, no one surpasses me, then the world bows to that decree. Not because it flatters you, but because that is the law of being. You do not chase, you do not beg, you magnetize, you assume, you walk into rooms not looking for acceptance, but bringing the atmosphere. You are the atmosphere, your energy speaks before you say a word. That's power, that's creation, that's presence. It's not about being loud, it's about being certain. That unwavering, silent, unshakable knowing that says, I belong at the top. I was born for this. Do not wait for accolades, you validate yourself. You praise yourself. You build yourself in the silence of your own mind and let the world catch up to your vision. You do not ask if you're worthy, you assume that you are. And because you do, every situation bends in your favor. Not sometimes, always, because you have moved into a state where your greatness is not questioned, it is simply expressed. You do not argue for your limits, you do not entertain mediocrity. You have no time to waste convincing others. Let them doubt, let them wonder. You stay on your throne and let your life do the talking. You are the embodiment of excellence. You are the picture of mastery. Every move you make, every word you speak, carries the vibration of one who knows their place at the top is not up for debate. Even when it looks like the world isn't moving, you are. Even when no one else sees it, you do. Even when it seems like circumstances contradict your vision, you persist. You persist because you know that your inner state is the seed and the harvest must come. You know that no matter what appears, it cannot override the law. The feeling of being the best, sustained, held, and repeated, must become form. It must. There is no maybe, only law, only truth. You do not compromise, you do not shrink, you do not water down your power to make others comfortable. Your shine is not negotiable. You walk in your full glory not because someone handed it to you, but because you remembered who you are. And in that remembering, you reclaim the crown. You no longer ask, can I? You declare, I am. And that declaration is the beginning and end of every miracle. You don't need circumstances to prove it. You don't wait for the evidence. You are the evidence. You are the cause. You are the alpha point of all things in your world. When you wake up in the morning, the world reorders itself based on who you believe you are. Believe small, you live small. Believe bold, you live bold. And when you believe you are the best, the greatest, the highest version walking, everything reflects that belief. You dress like the best, you speak like the best, you carry yourself with the poise and fire of someone who doesn't entertain second place. You walk as if every step is a proclamation. I am here and I am everything I say I am. You do not shrink from challenges, they shrink from you. Obstacles dissolve in your presence because you do not recognize them as stronger than your vision. The world is not your master, it is your mirror. So when you hold the image of yourself as unmatched, unstoppable, untouchable, the world reflects it back without hesitation. You no longer seek opportunities, you become the opportunity. People look at you and feel the shift. You are no longer hoping, you are manifesting. You are not waiting, you're creating. Every room you walk into becomes an extension of your inner certainty. That's the kind of power no one can give you, because it's already yours. You rise above noise, above distractions, above fear. You are not a product of conditions, you are the author of them. You don't react, you command. You don't wish, you assume, and your assumptions carry the force of universal law behind them. The moment you feel it is true, you become the vessel through which it is made real. And once you become it, no one can take it from you. Others may doubt, hesitate, question. That's not your business. Your business is knowing. Your business is embodying. Your business is walking with the posture of someone who knows they're untouchable. Someone who looks in the mirror and sees not just potential, but power realized. You don't ask for the spotlight, you are the light. And everything else simply revolves around your radiance. Even in stillness, you move worlds. Even in silence, your energy speaks volumes. You have become so rooted in your identity as the best that anything less simply doesn't register. You're not faking it. You are it. You live it. You breathe it. You see it before your eyes, not because you begged for it, but because you chose to feel it long enough that the world had no choice but to deliver. Every breath you take, every step you walk, every goal you set is already complete in the unseen. You don't need to figure out the how. That's not your job. Your job is to live from the end, to move like the thing is done, to talk like the deal is sealed, to smile like the victory is guaranteed, because it is. Because you said so. The crown isn't given to those who wait. It's worn by those who decide, and you have decided. You have crossed the line where doubt dies and only certainty remains. You are no longer asking to rise, you are already risen, already crowned, already established as the one who sets the standard. You are not average, you are the benchmark. You are not hoping to be seen, you are the one being looked at. And that is not boastful, that is alignment, that is truth, that is power flowing without resistance. You are not trying to convince the world of anything, you are simply expressing what's already fact within you. You've assumed the highest, and you refuse to let go of that assumption. And so life bows, doors open, people take notice, results flood in, not because you chased, but because you embodied. Every second you remain in this state, your world transforms. Every time you say, I am the best, with full conviction, reality bends. You are not subject to the rules of doubt, limitation, or lack. You transcend them. You move through life as a master, a creator, a force. And no one, not time, not circumstance, not opinion, can take that from you. You are not here to fit in, you are here to reign. You are not here to try, you are here to be. Be the one who already has it, already is it, already lives it. You do not wait for the world to agree. You lead the world to your vision by the power of your belief, because you are the best and you know it. And that knowing is enough. That knowing is everything. You stand in the middle of your world as the immovable center. Everything else is motion, everything else is rearranging, adjusting, responding to the signal you radiate from within. The world is not solid, it is fluid. It takes the shape of your assumption, and your assumption is law. When you decide that no one is greater than you, when you claim the identity of the best with unwavering certainty, the world becomes a mirror reflecting back only that version of yourself. It doesn't matter where you were born, what your past looked like, or what anyone has ever said about you. Those are shadows, echoes. They only persist if you give them attention. You are not bound by what was, you are defined by what you assume now. In this instant, that's where the power lies. Not in yesterday, not in some distant future, but in the moment you choose to believe differently. In the moment you take your power back and say, I am not just capable, I am incapable. You walk as if the ground is blessed by your steps. You speak as if your voice carries authority that cannot be questioned. And it does. Because you are no longer doubting who you are. You are no longer seeking from the outside what you've already claimed on the inside. You are the source. And your inner state is the origin of all that manifests. The truth is simple. The world reflects you. Not your effort, not your struggle, not even your words alone. It reflects your state, your dominant feeling of who you are. So if you feel like the greatest, the most extraordinary, the rarest and highest version walking, the mirror must reflect that back. It is law. And you are the lawmaker. Let others wait for proof. You don't need proof. You are the proof. Your certainty makes it real. Your faith in yourself is the blueprint upon which your life is built. And the world will mold itself to fit that belief, just as clay responds to the sculptor's hands. But you are not using hands. You are using imagination, feeling, assumption. That is the creative force. That is what shapes everything. Others may call it delusion. Let them. You're not here to argue. You're here to demonstrate. You are the walking evidence of belief in motion. And those who once doubted will ask how you did it, but you will know. It was never about how, it was about who you decided to be. The world didn't change first, you did. And the world had no choice but to follow. There's no room for hesitation in a mind that knows its own power. You don't look left or right, you don't compare, you don't ask for consensus, you look inward, you assume the throne, you embody the role. And as you persist in that assumption, the outer begins to reflect the inner like clockwork. You do not chase excellence. You are the embodiment of it. You don't run after recognition. You command it with your presence. And if no one else claps for you, you clap for yourself. If no one else sees it, you see it. That is enough. Because your belief is the origin. Your feeling is the cause. Your vision is the seed from which your entire reality blooms. Every time you hold the feeling of being the best, of being untouchable, of being divinely chosen, you rewrite the script. Every time you ignore the external and return to the knowing within, you reclaim your power. It doesn't matter what appears to be happening. Appearances are fleeting. They're the result of old assumptions. And you are not interested in the old. You are birthing the new. You are living from the end. And the end says, I win, I rise, I reign. So you keep walking even when it seems nothing is moving. You keep affirming even when no one else believes. Because you don't live by their doubts, you live by your knowing. You have burned the bridge behind you. You are not going back. You're not wondering if it's possible. You've already declared it's done. And in that declaration, all things are made new. There is no force more magnetic than someone who knows who they are, who doesn't waver, who doesn't second guess, who lives from their vision with fire in their soul and stillness in their spirit. That's what you are. You don't need to prove it through effort. You become it through embodiment, through assumption, through a calm, inner certainty that says, of course, this is who I am. I couldn't be anything less. You don't explain, you don't justify, you exude, you radiate. And as you do, the world falls into place like puzzle pieces drawn to the frequency of your belief. That is alignment. That is mastery. That is what it means to live as the best, not because someone gave you a title, but because you assumed it first and life confirmed it later. Feel the power in your body now, not as something to acquire, but something to remember. It has always been yours. You were never meant to fit in. You were born to stand out, not from ego, but from design. Your uniqueness is your superpower. And when you own it fully, unapologetically, relentlessly, you become unstoppable. You become undeniable. You become a force that cannot be ignored. So walk like it's already done, speak like it's already yours, move like the one who has nothing to prove and everything to express. You don't wait for the crown, you wear it. You don't hope for the light, you are the light. And when you live that truth every moment, the world rearranges to honor you. Because it must. You are the beginning of everything. You are the one, the best, the highest expression. And when you claim that, not as fantasy, but as fact, reality bends to your will, not because you forced it, but because you assumed it. And the assumption was sustained, and in that sustaining, all things became possible. You've stopped looking at the scoreboard. You've stopped checking if others believe. You've stopped questioning the path. You've already won. You know it. You feel it. You embody it. And that knowing becomes the foundation on which every victory is built. You don't need loud celebration. Your stillness is your statement. Your energy is your evidence. Your results are your residence. You walk through life with the quiet confidence of a ruler, not needing to convince because your reality speaks for itself. And if it doesn't yet, wait, because it will, because you've spoken it internally, persistently, powerfully, and nothing can stop the one who knows they are already what they've decided to be. You're not trying to become, you already are. You're not asking, you're declaring. You're not hoping, you're being. And in being, you bypass delay, you collapse time, you eliminate doubt. You don't need signs, you are the sign. You don't seek proof, you are the proof. You walk with a sense of inevitability because nothing is more certain than a soul aligned with its truth. You hold your vision close. You cherish it, you feed it, you protect it from doubt, from fear, from small thinking. You treat it like sacred fire, and it responds. It grows. It consumes everything unlike itself, until only the reality of what you have chosen remains. This is your power. This is your inheritance. Not earned, remembered, not fought for, claimed. You are not asking life for permission anymore. You are stating your truth and letting the world rearrange itself in obedience. Because you know now, you know who you are the best. And no one, no circumstance, no opinion, no delay can change that. Because you've assumed it. And what you assume, you become. You rise each morning not to see what the day will bring, but to bring yourself into the day with such unshakable presence that everything must align. You don't wait for the mood, the motivation, or the perfect moment. You are the moment. You create the energy. You are the standard by which life moves. The moment your eyes open, the day begins to take shape around your identity, your certainty, your silent decree. I am the greatest. I am unmatched. I am the origin point of all that is good, powerful, and magnetic in my life. Do excellency. You don't plead for opportunities. You breathe them into existence. You don't chase dreams, you live them now in mind and feeling, knowing the outer world must follow suit. There is no exception, there is no delay except that which you allow through disbelief. And you do not entertain disbelief, not anymore. That's not your language, that's not your state. You speak fluently in the language of certainty. You walk fluently in the posture of arrival. You move through life with the full force of someone who has already become. You don't argue for greatness, you live it. You don't talk about what's coming, you declare what already is. And even if no one else sees it, you see it, you feel it. That's enough. That's all that's ever been needed. Your assumption is the fire, and from that fire all things are forged. People spend their lives reacting to the world, but not you. You've stepped into your creative authority. You've realized that the world bends not to the loudest voice, but to the clearest vision, the deepest knowing. Every thought is a seed, every feeling is a builder, every assumption is a decree. And you no longer plant weeds. You no longer speak smallness. You no longer water the lie that says, you must wait your turn. You are the turn. You are the now. And because you hold this in your heart with reverence, the world opens up like a book written just for you. Others may question the path, demand the how, wait for the evidence. But you are too deep in the knowing to entertain those questions. You're not concerned with how anymore, because you are operating from the who. And who you are is enough to collapse timelines, to move mountains, to shift everything in your favor. You are the cause. You are the current. You are the sun that all else orbits around. You are not here to repeat what's been done. You are here to define what's possible, to blaze a trail so fierce, so bold, so certain, that the world has no choice but to adjust to your frequency. When you walk into a room, the atmosphere shifts, not because you demand attention, but because you carry presence. You are not hoping to be seen, you are the vision itself. Not hoping to be heard, you are the voice. Not trying to impress, you are the message. You are not swayed by appearances, you do not flinch at setbacks. You are too rooted in your identity to be disturbed by temporary contrast. If the world around you looks slow to catch up, that's fine. You hold the inner vision, you nurture the inner flame. You persist without forcing, because you know that assumption sustained is power activated, and power activated is reality restructured. You are not the echo, you are the origin. You are not the follower, you are the blueprint. People will look back one day and wonder how you did it. They'll ask how you broke the mold. And you'll know it wasn't about effort, struggle, or logic. It was about knowing. It was about becoming. It was about stepping into the feeling of already being the best and refusing to step out. You don't rehearse confidence, you are confidence. You don't borrow belief, you embody belief. You don't ask for proof, you are the walking manifestation of what it means to trust yourself so fully that the world must agree. Every second you hold this state, the unseen responds. It conspires. It moves pieces you cannot see to deliver what you have already received internally. And the beautiful thing, you don't need anyone's approval. You don't need the applause, because when you stand in your power, you become a silent storm, a force that cannot be denied. You don't have to raise your voice to be felt. You don't have to prove your worth to be valued. You exist in worth. You radiate value. And that alone is enough to command the highest outcomes, the best experiences, the most aligned people. You're not afraid of being too much. You were never meant to be small. You were meant to be limitless. You were meant to walk like royalty, speak like prophecy, and create like divinity. Every time you doubt, you interrupt the flow. But when you know, when you hold that knowing like gold in your spirit, life rushes in to meet it. And that's what you do now. You hold the knowing, you refuse to drop it. And when the world tries to test you, tries to pull you into fear, you smile, because you see it for what it is, the final echo of an old self, begging for attention. But you're no longer available for that identity. You're no longer answering to smallness. You don't even speak its language anymore. You've risen into a new state, a state where your greatness is not questioned, it is lived. You have become so committed to your inner vision that nothing can shake you. You don't chase alignment, you are alignment. You don't seek clarity, you are clarity. You are not building confidence from the outside in, you are drawing it from the wellspring within, from the eternal truth that says you are already it. You always have been. And because you live from that truth, you operate with boldness, you take steps others won't take because you know something they don't. You know who you are. And that knowing is everything. That knowing removes hesitation. It dissolves fear. It clears the path, not because the world changes, but because you have changed, and the world reflects you without fail. You are not concerned with competition. There is no competition when you are the original. There is no threat when you are the template. There is no race when you've already arrived. Others may measure success in numbers, in noise, in metrics, but you measure it in energy, in impact, in the silent resonance of a life lived from truth. And truth is what you carry now, effortlessly, unapologetically, unshakably. You don't need to scream your greatness from the rooftops. Your energy announces it before you speak. Your results echo it before you act. Because you've gone to the root, you've shifted self, and from there all else shifts. You've mastered the inner game, and the outer is now catching up in perfect sequence. You've assumed the highest, and the highest is now assuming you. Everywhere you go, doors open. Not because you push, but because you arrive. Not because you chase, but because you are. Your presence becomes the answer, your assumption becomes the key, your identity becomes the gatekeeper, and it only permits what aligns with your greatness. You are not limited by time, you are not held back by circumstances, you are not delayed by anyone else's doubt. The only thing that ever mattered was your own self-concept. And now that you've aligned with the highest version of yourself, the world can do nothing but align with you. That's not theory, it's law. So you continue to move, not as one waiting, but as one who knows. You continue to speak, not to convince, but to declare. You continue to imagine, not with hope, but with creative certainty. Every moment becomes a stage where your greatness plays out, and everyone around you begins to feel it, even if they don't understand it. They sense it, they respond to it, they're drawn to it. And the best part? You're just getting started, because now you know. Now you've stepped into the identity that doesn't settle, doesn't shrink, doesn't question its own worth. You are the best, not in comparison, but in expression. Not in competition, but in alignment. And from this place, nothing is denied to you. Nothing is too big. Nothing is out of reach. Because it's already within you, and what's within must become without. And so you walk not toward, but as the one who already is, as the one who has already become, as the best, without apology, without hesitation, and without limit. There is no pause in your power, no off switch. You are in constant creation, whether you are aware or not. But now you are aware. Now you know that everything you think, feel, and assume is forming the next scene in your reality. You've claimed the role of the director, the writer, the lead actor in the masterpiece of your life. And because of that, you no longer entertain the idea of limitation. You no longer flirt with doubt or dress your dreams in fear. You live in the knowing, and that knowing does the work. You are not asking for life to be fair. You're not hoping for chances. You decide, and the world responds. You don't walk through life wondering what will happen. You walk through life deciding what must, because you carry the final word. You have removed your power from people, from systems, from noise, and you have pulled it back into your own consciousness where it always belonged. Your internal world is no longer a battlefield, it is a throne room, and you sit on that throne not as a beggar hoping for scraps, but as a creator declaring the feast. You know what you are. You are not waiting for signs. You are the shift. And everything in your life bends to the frequency you now embody. You do not explain your power. You live it. You express it. Through your calm, through your clarity, through your quiet certainty that makes the loudest noise without saying a word. You are no longer reactive. You are generative. You are not surprised by the good that finds you. You are expectant. Because you've already experienced it within, and because it lives within, it must appear without. The seen is only the echo of the unseen, and you live in the unseen with mastery now. The version of you that doubted, hesitated, apologized, that version has dissolved. It cannot survive in this light. You do not entertain it. You do not revisit it. You do not grieve it. You outgrew it. And now you walk in newness, in authority, in alignment with the truth that was always there, waiting to be claimed. You are the best. Not best as in better than others, best as in fully aligned with yourself, best as in most aware, most conscious, most you, and in that authenticity lies your power. In that wholeness lies your magnetism. You don't copy, you don't imitate, you radiate, you emanate a signal so pure, so focused, so unshakably aligned that the universe must mirror it. There is no other outcome. Even your silence speaks volumes now. Even your stillness is electric. You walk with an energy that communicates everything, that you know who you are, that you need nothing to validate it, and that you are not looking for evidence. You are the evidence. You are no longer becoming, you are. You are living the identity of the one who has already arrived, and from that identity all outcomes are born. You no longer pray from desperation, you speak from fulfillment. You no longer visualize with longing, you see with certainty. You are no longer hoping for miracles, you breathe as one. The world doesn't give you confidence, you bring confidence to the world. You bring presence, you bring order, you bring the vibration of completion, of done, of decided, and the world must submit to your decision. You don't wait for alignment, you command it through your state, through your frequency, through the unwavering assumption that you are the best and the best is all you know. Your world does not shift by force, it shifts by law, by resonance, by the nature of who you are choosing to be in every moment. And who you are choosing to be now is one with nothing to chase and everything to be. You walk as one who already holds it all, not from arrogance, but from truth. From the divine truth that says all things are yours because you have accepted that they already are, that you already are. You are not separate from what you desire, you are one with it, and your only job is to live in that union, to walk in that state, to breathe it in and let it pour out of you in everything you do, everything you touch, everything you create. You are no longer seeking value, you are the value. You are no longer proving your worth, you embody it. And those who once overlooked you will wonder how they missed it. But you won't need to explain. Your existence will be explanation enough. Your presence will tell the story without needing words. You have risen, you have remembered, you have taken your rightful place as the one who no longer reacts, but creates. And you create not from force, but from identity, from the still, magnetic core of your being, from the place where all things begin. You no longer need to strive. You don't chase recognition. You don't seek approval. You've moved into a state where your validation is internal, your joy is self-generated, and your greatness is undeniable. You've become so familiar with success in your mind that it's no longer a goal, it's a given. So familiar with abundance that lack doesn't even occur to you. So intimate with excellence that mediocrity feels foreign. You are not trying to be seen. You're simply allowing the world to catch up to what you already know. And it will, because it must, because nothing can resist a sustained assumption held with conviction. You are the chosen one, not because someone said so, but because you chose yourself. You appointed yourself. You crowned yourself in the silence of your own mind. And now you live from that coronation, not needing anyone else to see it, but knowing they eventually will, because the world must confirm what you persistently believe. And you believe now in the fullness of your power, in the totality of your greatness, without doubt, without delay. You don't entertain questions like, can I? You live in the declaration of I already have. You don't ask when will it happen. You move as one for whom it's already done. That shift, subtle, invisible, internal, is the key. It is the secret, and you've unlocked it. You live it, you are it. Every cell of your being now vibrates with certainty. Every word you speak is backed by the authority of someone who knows the law and lives by it. You don't bend to fear. You don't bow to appearances. You stand in your knowing like a lighthouse in a storm, unmoved, unbothered, untouchable. You have made the decision, and now all things bend to that decision. You are not swayed by time. Time is your servant now. You move in divine timing, knowing that delay is an illusion and everything you desire is already moving toward you the moment you assume it. You trust not in the clock, but in the law. And the law says, what you feel as true must harden into fact. And so you keep your state pure, you keep your assumption clean, you protect your inner world as the sacred space it is, you feed it only that which aligns with the highest. You no longer entertain the version of you who questioned their greatness. You only breathe life into the one who knows they are the best, who walks in that knowing, speaks in that knowing, lives in that knowing until there is nothing else. You are not pretending, you are remembering, you are not reaching, you are receiving. And you receive not through force, but through alignment, through the magnetic pull of someone who no longer negotiates with doubt, who no longer identifies with anything less than the highest. You are the highest, and everything in your life now must reflect that. And if it doesn't yet, you do not flinch, you do not panic, you smile, because you know the truth, and the truth always wins. The truth always reveals itself. You do not need to push, you do not need to rush. You hold your state, you hold your crown, you hold your vision until the world has no choice but to mirror it. This is who you are now. This is your standard. This is your throne. You have arrived. Not in the future, not one day, but now. And from this place all things flow. From this place all things align. From this place you move as the best. Because you are the best, not becoming, being, not trying, embodying. And that embodiment is everything. That is the key. That is the fire. That is the truth that makes all things bend. So now you no longer wonder, no longer ask, no longer wait. You know. And in that knowing, everything shifts. You walk as the cause, speak as the power, live as the greatest, because that is who you are. That is who you've always been, beneath the noise, beneath the doubt, beneath the illusion. This is not the performance, this is remembrance. This is the moment you claim, not just with words, but with your entire being. I am the best. No one is better than me, not for ego, not for comparison, but because I've aligned with the truth of my own divinity, my own power, my own authority. And from this truth, I do not retreat, I do not bend, I do not wait. I reign, I rise, I embody, I am.